Hey up, right, it's Brass Monkey's weather today, absolutely freezing. I've even had to put a hat on. Tool rolls or toolkits, onboard toolkits. I've done quite a few tool roll reviews over the years. I think it's a while since I've done one, but certainly in the early days of the channel I used to do a lot. And they all had one thing in common. You paid, I don't know, anything from £80 to £110 out for your tool roll, but it didn't come with any tools. So I think I established over the years around about £40 will buy you the required tools, you know, the most commonly used tools to stock your tool roll up with. Not the best tools in the world, but decent quality that will last you for years if you're only using them infrequently. Now, a lot of people question why you should carry a toolkit with you these days. Now, admittedly, if you just pop into the shops or into town, you probably don't really need a toolkit. But if you're doing a bit of touring or long distance travelling, despite the fact, as people often remind me these days, most newish bikes or new bikes have roadside assistance included with the warranty. A toolkit can be a major advantage. Now, I hear a lot of stories of people that, you know, they've relied on the roadside assistance and they can be waiting anything up to 6 hours for roadside assistance to arrive and help them out. And quite often it's only, you know, a simple little thing that if you had a toolkit with you wouldn't be such an issue. 10-20 minutes and you'd be back on your way again. So I want to look at a new toolkit from MOTONE Customs today. Now, you should always be prepared on your travels, hence the name of this. This is the Moton Scout. And the thing that makes this different from every other tool roll that I've reviewed over the years is that it comes fully stocked with all the most common tools you're likely to require. Now, first of all, it comes in quite a nice little dust bag for when you're not using it, with one of MOTONE Customs' famous designs on it. I'm going to put that to one side so it doesn't get dirty. Handy for storing the toolkit in when you're not using it, because, you know, you're not always going to be wanting to carry a toolkit with you. This is made from leather and a really heavy duty cotton canvas. Now, I'm not quite sure what gauge the cotton canvas is, but I would say it's at the very least 14 ounce, somewhere between 14 and 20 ounces. Good, solid, hard wearing, long lasting piece of canvas. Now, so that you don't have to mess around with fiddly pin buckles, etc., what Moton have done is to make it easy to get into this kit when you need it. Got some really convenient pull fasteners, so you're not fiddling about with cold hands with pin buckles or anything else. You just pull them and it's open, which is exactly what you need when you've got an emergency on your hands. Inside, we've got a really neat and tidy. One thing that often strikes me, bearing in mind that this is fully stocked with tools, one thing that always amazes me about a lot of toolkits is once you've got the tools in, it's all quite untidy and cumbersome on the inside, and you often have trouble sort of rolling it back up again. They end up being sort of, you know, really sort of swollen in the middle, which, you know, they're not the most convenient things once you've stocked them up with tools. As I've said, this is actually fully stocked with tools. You've got a full set of combination spanners, a full set of Allen keys, a reversible screwdriver, and the ubiquitous, no motorcyclist should be without one, slip joint pliers. As you can see, all the pockets have been reinforced where they're going to get the most wear, sort of sliding things in and out. So you don't have to worry about this canvas, you know, fraying over time. I mean, this sort of canvas will last for decades, as long as it's kept in a reasonably dry place when it's not being used and it's looked after. The pocket flaps seem to be actually double thickness. In fact, most of it's double thickness. I think what they've done is, yeah, they have. They've doubled over the canvas to give it a little bit more rigidity. I mean, these are going to look better as they wear in and the patternise, but you've certainly got no problems with structural integrity of this. It's the kind of stuff that's going to take a lot of beating and knocking about, and it'll look better and better, but it will never be compromised. Good quality YKK zip with a storage compartment for any additional tools that you might want to put in there. I like to have a good stock of micro fuses, some cotter and split pins as well, depending which bike I'm on, but it's, you know, you just keep it in the toolkit, and the toolkit can be passed around from bike to bike. We also have a storage pocket at the end. I think the best bet for that would be to keep a C-spanner for adjusting your suspension on the fly if you need to. I've set my suspension up in the past, and then I've got sort of 10 miles away from home and realised that I've not got it right. So, you know, you've got the ability there to adjust your suspension, and there is plenty of room even in these pockets for additional bits and pieces if you need them. But this is by no means sort of a complete kit that you can add to. There is the space to add some other little bits and pieces, you know, tyre pressure gauge, that kind of thing, if you need to do so. Right, before we get on to the tools, the execution of this tool roll is actually probably the tidiest I've ever seen. You know, it's almost tailored rather than constructed. I can't find fault with the way this has been put together anywhere. It's been set out really logically. The finishing is all perfect. I can't see any flaws in this. Let me just turn it over. Really nicely, tidily put together. You do find some of them are a bit okay, you know, that's part of the attraction with some of them. They're a bit rough and ready, but this is really well put together, really neat and tidy. We've got a Union Jack leather patch on the inside because obviously MOTONE Customs are a British company. The top flap is made from leather. It's sort of a mid-tan, as are the straps, and we've got the MOTONE Customs signature embossed into the front of the leather flap. Now, inside we've got your main compartment and the tools. I wasn't actually familiar with this company. It's a company called BAUM. They're an American company that started in 1959, and what they're credited with these days is that they produce OEM toolkits for a lot of well-known manufacturers such as Mercedes, BMW, and lots of other European and American automotive manufacturers. Now, I don't think for a moment these particular tools are made in the USA, although they do still make some tools in the USA. This is from their lower range, but they're good quality. I mean, you can tell just by looking at a spanner whether it's going to last you or not. These are good for decades. Inside we've got a 16mm, a 14mm, no 15 because, to be quite honest, I've got a 15 in one of my other kits and I don't think I've ever used it on anything. A 13mm, 12mm, no 11mm, again something I've never used, a 10mm, then we have an 8 and a 6mm. I'm not quite sure how much use a 6mm would get, but you know, it is there if you need it. These are the most common sizes that you're going to find you need, especially for sort of on the hoof repairs on any motorcycle. 16, you probably won't need to use it a great deal, but certainly these three, the 12 to 14mm, actually thinking about it, the 10 as well, you're going to find they're going to come in very handy for any sort of on the hoof repair or adjustments that you might have to make. So I'll slide really tidily into the tool roll. They're a slim profile spanner, which is obviously what you need in something like this. I think sometimes when I've chosen spanners to stock up other toolkits in the past, I've gone more on price, and I've ended up with some sort of slightly chunky models that probably weren't the best choice, but you know, that's how it is. You've got a set of Allen keys. Again, these are made by BAUM, and looking at that, you've got 10mm, 8mm, presuming that'll be a 6mm, I think that's a 5mm, actually it might be a 4, and then we've got two smaller ones. Again, a good range of Allen keys for use on the bike. Now if you open up the second compartment, again we have a BAUM branded reversible screwdriver. We've got a flat blade on one end and a Phillips on the other. You'd probably find you'd be using the Phillips on the bike more often than not, but you do have the option of the flat blade. Now this isn't a BAUM, this is made by Stanley, the famous slip joint plier. I found these really handy. They're good for holding nuts in place while you're fastening a bolt up to them. In a push you can use these for repairing electrical connectors. 101 uses on a bike. I'm never without one of these in a toolkit. I think certainly all the Japanese manufacturers always used to include one of these, or their version of one of these. Good bit of kit. You shouldn't be without at least this basic setup.
So there you have it, a good selection of reasonable quality tools included with this tool roll. Now, granted, these are not snap-on quality tools, but they are decent quality tools that will last for decades with minimal care. Moton have taken the trouble to approach a reputable and respected company and get some decent quality tools rather than just buying the cheapest monkey metal tools in that they could find. Now, one of the things that makes this toolkit very different from any other tool roll that I've ever reviewed is that obviously MOTONE Customs have assembled the most likely tools that you're likely to need on your travels, and then they've built the tool roll around the toolkit. So everything is an exact fit, and when this is all folded up, it's a very slimline tool roll. What I tend to find happens with other tool rolls is they sort of estimate the space that they're going to require for whatever tools the customer chooses, and then when you've packed it up and got all your tools in, the whole thing feels a bit cumbersome and bulky. This doesn't. It still has a very compact, slimline profile to it, with plenty of space left over for you to add those other little bits and pieces that you consider you're going to need with you. I've reviewed a lot of tool rolls over the years, but what I've found by the time I've stocked them, it's always a bit of a compromise because the manufacturer doesn't know what you're going to put into the tool roll. So you find some pockets aren't quite big enough to put in what you want to put in, and some are too big, which often results in spanners, etc., slipping out of the tool roll while you're moving it around. By assembling a comprehensive toolkit and then tailoring the bag to the toolkit, Moton have come up with a collection in a tool roll which is a precision fit that just does exactly what you want it to do without any fuss or hassle. And the best part is, this tool roll comes in sort of mid-range price to empty tool rolls, but with the tools included. I'll leave a link in the video description down below. And along with that link, I will leave an exclusive discount code which will allow any viewer of this channel 12% discount off any Moton product from their official Moton UK website. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. You can also support me by signing up to my Patreon page or leaving a PayPal donation, or you can, if you like, just use the super thanks button down below. This all goes a long way to helping to keep this channel running, and I really do appreciate it. I will of course be back on Friday, so until then, please ride safely, and I'll see you soon.